Yeah, but yeah, generally, today he's going to share his experience of how he combined these two majors and how basically he came to transition to technology. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Now I'm going to pass the mic to Aziz and we can start this session. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for introduction, and thank you a lot for inviting me here. It's really an honor to be speaking. I think I'll go ahead and share my some slides I prepared, but I can can you make me a co-host so I can? Oh
You
yeah, I
should be
can
able
now.
to share them now.
Yeah, yeah. Yep. Hello everyone. Hello DKU. I miss DKU. DKU is a very special place. Yeah, I think I'll just go ahead. Let me give you a little bit of intro. I'm 2023 DKU graduate. I was selected as MLH top 50 class of 2022. MLH stands for Major League Hacking and is basically a company in the States that oversees sort of organizing hackathons, helps with organizing hackathons, uh, mainly student hackathons, but they also have special programs that help you start your career in tech, uh, which one program I was part of, and I'll talk a little bit later. So an MLH is huge in the States. Almost every hackathon is organized or supported by MLH. And over a year, they have around 150,000 students participating in hackathons. And my story was recognized as one of the top 50 due to my projects and my story, basically. Also, I'm open source contributor. I contributed to ESLint import plugin for ESLint. ESLint is basically a JavaScript tool that helps you lint your code. Lint your code means to style your code. You can write specific rules in there. For example, you cannot import modules that start with uppercase letter and many more. The open source software I contributed to has roughly 15 million weekly downloads on npm, so it's very popular software. And whenever you do create React app, if it comes with ESLint, and the chances are there's ESLint import plugin, and the pieces of code I wrote are in that software. I was a contributor to MLH fellowship program. MLH fellowship program, basically, if anyone has heard about Google Summer of Code, MLH fellowship is a very similar thing. They help you transition to tech by either you work as software reliability engineer with some company, or you contribute to open source projects, or you learn how to write Web3 and smart contracts and stuff like that. I really advise you to check it out if you want to be in tech. But despite all my achievements in the sort of coding, computer science, I majored in environmental science. But while I was at Duke, I also completed course requirements for minor in CS. And I'm currently a freelance contractor. I work in a couple of projects where I code. Yep. And this is a list of hackathons I participated and won something. First one was Make UC. It was my first ever hackathon, and my team and I will build a project, and we were chosen as best hack for demystifying food experience. And then I really liked the hackathons, and the rest followed. I participated in hackathons every week. Yeah. And the recent one was Web3 hackathon at Duke, where I got overall second place and I won in one corporate challenge. Yeah, let me tell you a little bit of my story. So when I was at high school, I learned some HTML and CSS on my own. You probably know what that is, but in case you don't know, it basically HTML stands for hypertext markup language. It basically helps you create websites. And in high school, I was interested in it, so I just learned the basic stuff. It doesn't have any functionality; it's very static. It just helps you create a website. But then, like, I didn't go on learning, and coding was not my passion. So it wasn't something I really enjoyed to do. So yeah, I just stopped doing anything with coding. And then in summer 2021, I was at home. It was during COVID. I was stuck at home. I couldn't go back to China, and then I couldn't go back. I couldn't go to Duke. So, and I wanted to work and make some money. And because I knew some HTML, CSS, I thought maybe I'll do websites for money. But I know that I cannot program. I cannot code. So I started teaching myself how to code. I started watching a lot of YouTube tutorials. I took Udemy course, and I think I first started learning Django framework. It's a Python-based framework, full stack framework. I learned a lot of that, and then slowly started learning React and JavaScript. And I hate JavaScript, but yeah, I started learning React and JavaScript, but I was like very beginner level. I could just create websites, but the rest was very difficult. And then I ended up making some money, and then I went to Duke. And then by really coincidence, I got into my first hackathon. Uh, I went to travel to see my friends from high school in the States, and it happened to be that they were co-organizing a hackathon. So, and they basically told me you can just apply, participate in the hackathon and see. Uh, and I just applied. I got in, and then in the Discord. Uh, so every Discord of hackathons, they have special like channels or Slack channels where you can meet people. And in that part, I briefly mentioned my skills, and one guy contacted me, and he invited me to another hackathon because the prizes in other hackathon were higher. So I went with him, and then there was a team, my wonderful team, who ended up winning. It was Make You See. Our hack won one of the nominations, and yeah, and I really liked the experience, and hackathon really improved my skill. For example, I was doing front end stuff, and I was the one who connects everyone else's work. Like there is some sketches of design, and I code the design. There is some API or machine learning model someone built, and I'm the one who makes API calls, and I'm the one who builds UI that users can see. And I still remember something that gives me PTSD is making my first API call in JavaScript. It was, I think, 5 a.m. and I was coding all night, and the deadline was 9 p.m. and I had to make an API call, and I never made an API call. And it took me like 2 hours to just make one simple API call. Yeah, hackathons are great for improving skill, and I felt like my skill improved a lot. And then there were a lot more. It was hackathon season, fall is hackathon seasons. So my team and I, we went on participating in a lot of more hackathons, and luckily winning something in most of them. And then I took my first CS class. So by the point I took my first CS class, I think I had participated in around 4 hackathons or maybe 5. And then I took CS 201 at Duke. It's data structures and algorithms. And then after that course, I participated in more hackathons. I was named MLH Top 50. And then I applied for MLH fellowship. First, I didn't get in. Then I applied, worked on my application, applied again, and I got in. And in the fall of my senior year, I did MLH fellowship, which is basically sort of internship stuff. And then I started taking a lot more CS classes on very, very diverse topics. You could ask me why tech. Like, I majored in environmental science, and I think I didn't do bad because I graduated with distinction due to my signature work, which was purely environmental science. But I still do not regret my decision going into tech, because I think tech is very, very good for the following reasons. First, I remember when I came back from DKU, I wanted to get a job. And it was very, very, very hard for me to get a job, because I would tell them, hey, I'm from DKU, this cool university, which is building partnership with Duke, but a lot of people didn't know about it. So although I thought just mentioning Duke's name or DKU's name will open all the doors for me, it did not happen. So I went through some struggles in getting a job and then I thought, okay, so getting a job in something you cannot show is very, very hard. And when I started thinking about tech, tech is very, very easy to show your skills. You can just send them your GitHub link, and they'll look at it, and they will know a lot of stuff, all the work coding languages you use and stuff. That was the first reason. And the second reason was good compensation. By good, I mean really, really good. I think tech software engineers, whatever engineer they are, earn the most money in like almost any country. For example, in my country, beginner level software engineer can learn like twice, or at least the average salary right from the start, and then your salary progression is very, very good for you. Your compensation increases like exponentially for next 2-3 years, and then it reaches plateau, but you end up working a lot more. And I feel like tech is more about freedom and mobility. For someone who comes from third world, it's very, very hard for me to travel to any other place to get an employment. But for tech, all the companies are interested in talent, and they will sponsor you easier than they would sponsor investment banker, for example, or consultant. Because in tech, they can see what you can do. And it's really easy for them to make that decision. Compared to consulting guy, for example, in consulting, you can make great presentation, but it's really, really hard to see the results of your work. And the same applies for other jobs. And I think next point is tech really helps if you are even slightly interested in entrepreneurship, and especially in developing world. Unlike the States, where there are few very, very big, huge companies that took almost all the markets, in developing world, a lot of software is lacking. In a lot of places, they still use pen and paper instead of using, I don't know, SQLite database or PostgreSQL database. And a lot of things are not digitalized at all. But there is a huge demand for it from the government and also from private sector and other business owners, who want to optimize and see what's going on in their business, and tech and coding really helps with that. And the next point, which I think is the most important point, is these days every company is a tech company. You may not think that way, but it is true. In every company you go, there's you get a computer, you open your Excel spreadsheets, and you work on it. For example, that's the simplest example. And all the companies need tech for their internal management, HR. All companies need software for basically analytics, be it pharmaceuticals, big pharma companies, you can get a job as software engineer. Government, you can get a job as software engineer, or any other businesses, you can get a work as software engineer, or at least do a gig for some money, build them a website. So I think my main message today would be that every company is tech company, and if you had that mindset, you will love tech even more. And last but not least, how to win a hackathon. I think I'm entitled to give you some advice on that based on my experience. And based on my experience, diversity is the key. But the diversity I mean is not the people coming from all over the world, but diversity in terms of skills. My company, we were very, very successful because everyone, my team was very, very versatile. I was doing front end, there was someone else doing machine learning, and there was someone else doing design. None of our works overlapped. So at the end, we were able to all contribute and do something very, very big. Yeah, so diversity is the key. Whenever you do hackathon, try to find a designer, try to find front-end developer, and try to add machine learning if you can. And the next point is add stuff that you're scared of. What I mean by that is when in my first hackathon, I was really shocked and amazed at what my teammates are doing. My one guy was training a machine learning model to recognize the groceries based on the picture of the groceries. And for me, someone who was outside of tech, I thought that's very, very cool. It's very, very difficult, and there's something like employees in Meta or Facebook can do. But it's not that hard. A lot of solutions are there. You can just go and use them. A lot of problems were solved for you. Just go download the model, find a data set, and train it. If you can code, you can put all the parts together. So, and there's a lot of more stuff which sounds really cool and very scary. For example, smart contracts, blockchain. It can be scary and very difficult to grasp, but once you do, coding smart contracts is not that hard, and especially for hackathons, I would say it's fairly easy. So yeah, and I think this would be the end of my talk, and I'm open to any questions you might have about hackathons or my experience or anything really. Thank you a lot for inviting me. Yeah.
All right, all right. That was, I think, partly inspirational talk to inspire all of you to basically go boldly into the technology field there, because there's so much opportunities both for research, for industry, for getting a job. Yeah. Yeah, Aziz, although again he's from environmental science major, nevertheless he did his best. I personally saw him how he was, self-learning all this stuff and participating in hackathons. He was also lots of times featured by DKU for becoming MLH top developer and for participating in the fellowship. Yeah. So if you I think you also get kind of inspired to participate maybe in this hackathon by Aziz speech. Yeah. So that was really amazing and useful. Thank you so much. If you have questions, you may raise your hand and we can ask your question if you wish. If you don't have mobile, is the mic working? Oh, 1 second. Hello, can you hear us? Aziz, can you hear us? Okay. Yeah, you can ask.
Hi, so you mentioned learning React like slowly, and I'm currently trying to learn React, but I find that the YouTube videos I watch are either like way above my level, so that while I like can follow along the coding tutorial and do what they're doing, it's hard for me to actually learn things. So I was wondering if you have any tips for like fully understanding React.
Yeah, thank you. It's a really good question. Whenever you try to learn new stuff, new framework, think as someone who's just trying to learn, don't think about the React itself, but try to think about engineers that created React. Think about architecture and their philosophy. For example, they use set state. Think about why they created set state, why React uses JSX, why it's mostly functions, why is it functional. And then when you try to think about what engineers did to solve the problem, not about the solution, try to understand the philosophy of the engineers, that really helps in understanding these frameworks and new software. Because one of the reasons we have so many frameworks is because there is a simple problem and there is a lot of different solutions to the problem. Yeah, and the next thing would be, this is probably does not apply to you right now, but try to just learn or watch all the YouTube videos of different tech all the time if you can. For example, for me, I at least watch a video on YouTube on some tech related stuff. Although I don't understand anything in it, although I don't code in it. For example, like yesterday, new JavaScript runtime was released, and also new coding language, which can be as much as 35,000 times faster than Python was released. And I watched those videos on those things. I didn't understand a lot, but I still, it's just, being exposed to a lot of stuff. When it comes to specifically to React is very hard because React has a lot of its own philosophy. I would say try to look into Svelte. Svelte basically does a lot of same stuff. It spells SVELTE. Try to look at Svelte. When you do front-end framework, the hardest part is state management. And Svelte, I think Svelte's state management is a lot better than React and Redux. Try to look into Svelte right now. I think you'll find it a lot easier. And yeah.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much for the clear answer. So yeah, it's more about learning why rather than what, I guess. Yeah. Thank you. Do we have any other questions to Aziz?
Yeah, I have a question. Aziz, how'd you feel about winning American hackathons?
I don't think, I honestly didn't think about hackathon being American or not, because none of my teammates are American.
Oh.
All of my, for example, my teammates, we were so diverse and we were all over the place. We have a designer who was in Vancouver, we had a guy who was in New York, and another guy who was in India, and I was in Durham. And all of us were we were like Chinese, Korean, Indian, and Uzbek guy in a team working together. So I wouldn't like concentrate a lot on the hackathon being American or not. But there are different grades of the hackathon. For example, student hackathons or small student hackathons are not, I would say, they're good level. They're not too hard. You're not expected to come up with new algorithm or stuff. But for example, Chainlink hackathon or Ethereum's hackathons, some people create like very successful startups out of those hackathons. Some people create really cool tools, and those who have very, very big prize are usually the hardest. So I would say price of the hackathon talks a lot about difficulty of the hackathon, because if the prizes are very good, then a lot of people will be interested in doing the hackathon. And yeah.
I also want to point out you had a couple teammates who didn't speak English, so I had to ask you to translate
Yeah.
for me. He's like, how do I get this book to you? Oh, you're going home. Oh, great, thanks.
Yeah.
All right. Do we have any other questions, guys? Okay, I guess if you don't have questions, we'd like to thank again for Aziz, thank you so much for making time coming to today's hackathon to inspire DTU undergraduates. Yeah, we're also having an event in January that will be much bigger hackathon. Yeah, this was like a test hackathon under HackDuke. And yeah, we are preparing for the bigger event. So if you'd be interested, we'd like to invite you again. Yeah, but thank you so much for the talk, for advice as well. And we would like to wish you a good luck on your future works, job search, and maybe hackathons. Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's a very, very big honor for me, and I'm ready to help in any ways I can. Thank you. It was nice seeing you too.
Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah. All right, then I think we will head to lunch break for a little while, and then join Zoom again by roughly 1 p.m. Okay, Scotty?
30 minutes from now, right?
Yeah, that's like roughly 1 p.m. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, come over to lunch, Scotty.
All right. Yeah. I'm just down the hall. I'll see you on a bit.
Okay. Yeah, take a flight.
All right. Take it easy.
Okay. Yeah. See you later, man. Yeah. Thank you.